We're wrapping up our second season here at Ferncrest, and I want to give you an update of how things went and where we're going. Come with me and I'll show you around. The first thing we did here was we really prioritized expanding the number of glamp sites. We went from 6 dome tents to 12 dome tents, and we kept our 9 Crest tents in play. So we have a total of 21 glamp sites operating this year, and things went really well. The dome tents themselves were full all the time, and that's become a cornerstone of our campground and what we become known for. As we look to the future, that's definitely a part of the business that we're going to expand on. The most exciting thing that came out of this year was expanding our business through our franchise model, which for those of you that don't know what that is, let me explain what it is and then also explain more the reasoning behind it. So even if you're not interested in what a franchise would look like, there is a lot of business lessons and things related to how we're growing our glamping business that I think are really interesting and tie together into the future of what we're looking at doing. It was the success of the dome tents that got us thinking about what is the future of Ferncrest. And we thought maybe we'll open more Glampgrounds in other locations. But as we started to have conversations with other people that had followed us online, we realized that the dome tents were the most versatile structure and the thing that a lot of people saw working in their own markets. You see, as people have land all over this country, all over this world, and a lot of it is beautiful. You don't need the mountain vista or the lakeview property for you to enjoy the outdoors. I mean, testament to us, we have 10 acres of forested campground and people absolutely love it. It transports them in a magical way that you don't get at home. And so when they looked at the dome tents and they started to see how successful they were being here at Ferncrest, the conversation started to evolve into how we can get people dome tents, how we can start building them on their land. And what that evolved into is the idea of actually just taking the entire brand and the entire experience and doing it for people. And that is precisely what the franchise model is all about. It's about not just helping people start a Glampground, but actually start a Ferncrest Glampground, because that is ultimately what we do best. It's the branding, it's the marketing, it's the ideation and the vision. But at the end of the day, a lot of people, they're amazing business people, they're amazing operators, and they have land of their own. So that is what the franchise model allows them to do, get the strengths of us, and for us to get the strengths of them in partnership to grow a really meaningful business. After a lot of different conversations, we realized that franchising is not for everybody. We've had a number of conversations with people that have land that ultimately have their own vision and want to build their own brand. Great. We want to help them and we want to support them in every way we can, because we've gone through the trenches to learn what we've learned, and we're happy to share that. For the people that want to work with us over the long run, and I'm talking years and years and years of partnership in the future, the franchise model has turned out to be a really great thing for those people, because we already have the brand established. We already have the booking engine. We already have the marketing channel. There's a lot of things that go into building a business that is not just about the physical property. People that come to us that have a beautiful property, that have some experience running a business, and that really want to be a part of something bigger, those are the people that we're trying to work with. And the way that it actually works out is that in addition to having the land, they just have to be willing to learn. And ultimately, working with people and coaching them and supporting them on their business journey is exactly what we want to do. Because at the end of the day, the franchisee, the person that is actually working with us to start a Ferncrest on their land, they own the business 100%. Franchise is a really interesting business model because it has nothing to do about ownership for us. The only thing that we own as the business owners and as the franchisor is the brand. So that's the type of person that would be perfect as a franchisee of Ferncrest, and it's who we want to work with. But here's how it would work. A franchisee has to commit to doing at least 12 glamping setups. So 12 of these dome tents, or a mixture of dome tents and crest tents. After that, they pay 7% royalty on an ongoing basis. So if you make $100,000, $7,000 of that goes to the royalty, which again is a small portion of the overall take, and ultimately is what covers all the expenses and everything that we're doing to grow the brand and grow the business and support our franchisees. The other thing that the franchisee is responsible for is a contribution of 3% of their revenue to a national marketing fund. Essentially, marketing costs associated with growing the franchise brand, the Ferncrest brand, because growing the Ferncrest brand is benefiting all of our franchisees. So there's a 3% contribution to that. And ultimately, that's it. 10% of the overall revenue goes towards supporting the franchise business, which in many ways is a fraction of what the overall cost of doing all of that on their own would be. Growing a brand, supporting a website, doing all of those things is a very, very expensive part of running a business. And all of that is built into the franchise fee. which ultimately is allowing us to reach economies of scale with the brand and grow a much more meaningful business over the long run. And to people, it's allowing them to just get to the core of running their business, building their tents, landscaping their grounds, welcoming and greeting and supporting their guests, and ultimately running the business and being the face of it, but having us be their cheerleaders and their support structure in the background. The other cost associated with starting a franchise is an upfront franchise fee. So not the percent that you pay on an ongoing basis. Ours is going to be $50,000, but we're not going to charge that right now because we know people that are joining our franchise system are taking a risk of their own, joining something so new, and we want to support them in every way we can. So that $50,000 fee is waived as long as people commit to those 12 glamping setups. And ultimately down the road, as things grow and as we become a more established business, we'll probably have that fee back in play. But we want to support people the best way possible and not try to nickel and dime them. So we know that they're going to put a lot of time, money, and effort into developing their land. And to grow any glamping business, it's going to be a meaningful amount of money. Is it as much as building a big fancy resort or even a big fancy home? No. You can start a Glampground for as little as $100,000. Our average range that we're telling our franchisees to open an actual Ferncrest is somewhere north of $350,000. Again, that is a meaningful amount of money, but if you think about building anything these days, from a real estate standpoint, it's still a very conservative number. So we're not taking the franchise fee so that we can have people put their investment into their actual land and their actual business, so that we're taking a more longer term partnership mindset and not a short term mindset. So why? Why are we building a business through a franchise model? Well, frankly, it took me a while to figure it out, and it took me a while to realize that what we've done with our current property, our social media following, and all of our strengths and weaknesses, it's perfectly aligned with what a franchise business is. You see, the previous business that I built was really predicated on owning everything, heavily investing into growth, trying to be the biggest and the best business possible, which I have no regrets for. But what I did realize is that actually owning everything and doing everything yourself is not always the best way to grow a business. And the franchise model is perfectly a testament to that, because ultimately people own their own businesses and they're really getting the support from us in what we do best. We love building brands. We love supporting customers. We love educating and telling stories, but actually physically owning property all across the United States would be a really challenging thing for Joanna and I to manage overall. We have a young and growing family. We want to really provide support and time to them. And I think that ultimately the franchise model is perfectly aligned with our family, but also our business beliefs. So both family and business beliefs are aligned in a way that I don't think any other model could support that. Imagine if we had ownership of property in 100 different markets, like we think we can get to with the franchise model. We would have to be heavily involved in all of those, traveling, being on the ground, checking on things. But at the end of the day, people that own their own property, that own their own franchise, like they have pride that no other manager or employee could ever have. They love their property, they love their land, they love their business, and it's their customers. So the franchise model is really our way of growing a meaningful, sizable brand, which is what we're really passionate about doing. We think Ferncrest can be the preeminent Glampground brand out there, because there's high-end brands right now that have a handful of properties throughout the country, and then there's mom and pop brands that are backyard Glampground brands and things like that. There's no real accessible, I don't want to use the word mass market, but it is a mass market approach to glamping. We want to provide as many people access to the outdoors as possible. And we believe that using a franchise model, supporting people to open up Glampgrounds in beautiful places across this country is the way to do so. So that's how we're growing our Glampground business. We're going to be supporting others to create profit and meaningful life and business off of their own land through opening a Ferncrest of their own. Thanks for watching. I love talking about Glampgrounds. Like and subscribe if you want to have more.